Hey friends, how are you? Welcome back to the Y Experience with myself, JJ Canon. Thank you for joining us again today. We had a little bit of an off week last week where I was out of the studio. My family and I were doing a little Texas two-step tour, and we shot live from the Texas State Aquarium down in Corpus Christi and did a little interview with our friends that are dolphin trainers there in their aquarium, and that was fantastic to meet with Marissa. And today we're back in the studio, and I'm super excited because I have one of my good friends who has been in the game of sports all the way from youth sports as a player himself to professional volleyball to where he played in Europe. And so joining me today in studio, I have Eric Wooldridge. Eric, how are you, man?
Doing good, man.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you stopping in.
It's an awesome place.
You know, I always enjoy talking with people and understanding how they get, from different stages of life, as well as understanding their passion. And man, whenever I talk to you about volleyball, it is only volleyball. Like, we don't talk about lunches or,
Right.
It's straight up volleyball. And I just love that passion that you have for volleyball. And I wanted you to share that with our audience of, how you got involved with volleyball, for one, and where it took you in your journeys, as well as what you're doing now, because you've decided to make a career out of training champions in volleyball.
Yeah.
So give me a little bit of history.
Well, born and raised in Houston, Texas. Went to Strake Jesuit. They didn't have a boys program, so I actually played for Houston Volleyball Academy. Ended up getting a Division I scholarship to go play ball. And after I graduated, my dream was to play pro.
Yeah.
And I went and got my first contract in Slovenia. And
Slovenia.
I
love that place.
It was beautiful. Got to see. I mean, it was, my dad visited, and one time we were looking around like, we're in Slovenia. Volleyball?
Right.
And he actually got me started playing in USA Volleyball and the sand leagues and social leagues, and I took it as far as I could take it. And now, yes, I am working for Houston Volleyball Academy, and we are in the beach, coaching coaches, youth. You name it. If it has anything to do about the game, as you got to hear, I geek out about that.
He geeks out about volleyball, people. So whenever you went over to Strake, and Strake's a fantastic school here in the Houston area, they did not have a boys volleyball program.
No, they were in TAPS, I believe, at the program at the time. Now they're in UIL. It's just not a very popular sport here in Texas. California has it, some Florida, Midwest. It's growing. You can see the game growing. We're trying to constantly grow the game, but they didn't offer it.
Okay. And so playing volleyball as a youth, was there something outside of Strake Jesuit that you were doing in parallel with playing volleyball there at Strake?
Well, unfortunately, I was at Bel Air Christian Academy in middle school, and they had a volleyball program, so I wanted to carry it on, but I needed to go to Kincaid or Episcopal. So, yes, I was able to play for a club by the name of South Shore, and then I found HVA, and that was kind of the club year-round sport that I was able to do outside of water polo and golf, some other sports I did in high school.
And so did playing volleyball help you with college, or
it's opened up doors for me to get into college, and then obviously to go to Europe. But yes, that was the catalyst. I be honest with you, it wasn't because of my high GPA. It was the fact that I could play the game.
You're a good athlete.
6'6" helps out a lot.
6'6".
I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah.
So it's the catalyst that got me to go to Quincy, Illinois. So I got to see the seasons. My whole life I was in Houston, and now I have to own a winter coat. So
yeah, so playing volleyball, as well as being very skilled at it, provides you with a scholarship so that you could go out and get a degree. You got a couple of degrees, or you got a degree in
a major in psychology and a minor in business. But yeah, at one point in time, I believe high school cost more than college, and that was a lot due to volleyball, and that's amazing. Not having student loans and stuff like that after you graduate.
So with your education that you got from college, psychology as well as business, I mean, that fits in. Not a lot of people use their degree once they get out of school, but really you're using that information on training, and I think y'all's hashtag is We Train Champions. And so understanding the psychology of the game and understanding the psychology of the player,
right,
as well as the behind the scenes of running and operating a business or collaborating with others to run and operate a business really plays a huge role in what you're doing now.
No one really told me that in the catalog when I was looking about where I was going to be.
Nobody knows. We just kind of like,
I need to decide. I need to declare a major. That was frightening. But yes, there's a psychology with students, with athletes. I mean, with the adults. I coach adults that are still playing in their social leagues. Adults like yourself. I mean, you're a dad. How are we going to conduct this and link arm in arm as we are raising, our future, the next generation.
Right. One thing that I love about team sports, and I've had a couple of other friends in the studio talking about team sports, but it's the leaders that team sports provides. It's working in a team environment. It's able to overcome when you're behind, and then whenever you lose, what are you going to do about it? You going to sit there and pout, or are you going to get back out there and we're going to figure out a strategy for bringing a W home?
Right.
I'm sure over your years you've seen some of those and some of those struggles. Do you have an experience that might have been, on the court? Because you play court and you also play sand volleyball, and after college you were like, hey, you know what? I still got passion for volleyball, and you went on to play professionally. And tell us about maybe an opportunity or a time that you've used, team sports to really overcome or to get that W, or to, help develop kids either personally or with, your teams that you work with.
Yeah. I think the stories would go on forever. I mean, being coming out of HVA and having some accolades, we've done well in some Texas tournaments to go into the national rank and be told by our coaching staff, you need to be redshirted, and then kind of how to take that, because I thought I was the MVP. I was a big fish in a small pond, and now it's adversity from some experiences in Europe that you're not the starting setter anymore. Like, how do you deal with this? So yeah, the life lessons are numerous in terms of sport. I try to constantly pray to be an intentional leader, and there's a lot of opportunities now to lead and be a good leader and try to help the athletes, whether it's indoor, outdoor, 7 to 12-year-olds or actually club teams, to be that leader, to be a captain and be an advocate for the coach and go talk to the ref. I mean, the stories will go on forever.
All right. Hey, friends, thank you for joining us. I see a lot of people dropping some comments on here and throwing up some hearts and thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Please, if you have an opportunity, go ahead and share our content and continue to drop some comments. We're going to get to those comments here at the end of the program. A lot of my friends that have worked in team sports, Eric, they talk about that leadership role that a coach had influenced them with, and that's a big role for students, because it's not only teaching them how to play the game, but to be a leader, and they look towards coaches on understanding what leadership is. Parents are definitely a big part of it, but sometimes students and athletes are also greatly influenced by their coaches and how they handle circumstances. It's interesting, because even me personally, when I was a youth growing up, my parents would tell me one thing, and for some reason it didn't resonate. But with a third party, sometimes it would reinforce what my parents would say.
Right.
That gave them gravity of like, okay, my parents aren't crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, because as a youth, sometimes we get in this thing in our mind that we feel that our parents are wrong.
Right.
And sometimes we have those coaches that come behind to add that support, as well as help those students maybe overcome some of those challenges of figuring out how to be a leader.
Right.
Yeah,
no.
Or a team player, because not everybody's really a leader.
True. I definitely agree with that. I'll second that. The owner of HVA, Sean Carter, a spiritual mentor of mine whenever I graduated, just kind of got me on the right path of where we're going to take this. And one of the things he was sharing with me is I think a coach falls in line of having major influence with an athlete. Like behind the mom, sometimes before the dad, a teacher is up there as well. So that's a lot to kind of think about. And I just try to make sure that, we are taking it to the next level and not just keeping the ball off the ground, as some of those comedians say. So, and if it's in leadership, if it's, being an advocate for yourself, the stories can keep piling up on opportunities upon opportunities.
So after your European professional volleyball career, you decided to retire and come back home. And you came back to the States. You met a beautiful lady, and y'all got married.
Yeah.
And like yourself, when I was relatively young, I got married, and my wife was so encouraging. Chase your dreams. Do something that you love. And, I was kind of doing something that I just wasn't happy with. And I think a lot of people get out of school and they feel that they're going to take a direction, but the passion just isn't there. And, I'm very grateful that Hope gave me confidence to chase what I really wanted to do. And you kind of have a similar story about that as well. And Becca was like, Eric, get out there and do it.
Yeah.
So tell our audience a little bit about, what got you like, what, I'm going to do it. Because you weren't too excited about the path you were taking.
No. Well, first off, I do need to say that she was right. I know she likes to hear that because she was telling me that, you're spending 7 a.m. to...
That's like the number one rule. Honey, you're right.
You do need to say that. But yeah, I was just consuming my time with the sales chase of, I wanted to tell people that I was in oil and gas or I was in medical sales. And I didn't want to say I coach volleyball. That just didn't, in my mind.
Didn't have a ring.
Pride, kind of stepped in. She's like, you need to get that out of here and let's talk about your passion. Let's talk about what you want to, nerd out about. And luckily she loves the game as well. So we get to, watch college play or watch, YouTube Pro and just geek out, and it's been awesome. And then when we go, we have some people, we have a master coach, some other intellectual guys in our club, and we just get to talk about volleyball, and hours fly by. And that's a passion. And I wouldn't have had that in a sales job. Get your quota in, and after that you got to get your quota in by 5 more %. It's like, yeah, that's not an enjoyable way to make a living. I mean, honestly, it's putting food on the table and a roof over your head, but I often hear of people making 6 figures and being absolutely miserable. One of the guys that I listen to and that I was telling you about courtside is Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
And he always talks about all the different people that he meet with that same example. They're making $1.2 million a year and just absolutely miserable, versus the person that is starting off or making way less, but they're happy, because they have what they need. The fulfillment with their family or with their children is there, and they're not distracted with showing up to a job that they're just beat down with. And so
the immeasurables in volleyball have just increased as we grow as a club, and PVG is going to be able to branch off into a whole nother aspect of.
So yeah, let's talk about that. So you get married, your wife is right, she gets you right, and then you start looking around and saying, all right, what can I do with this?
Yeah.
And where'd you go?
Oh, it exploded, and I don't want to take any credit for it. Carter and I, they were in boys 2 3 boys club team, and we're now at 20 club teams, 8 locations for our youth, 2 locations for beach volleyball. It's going crazy. But volleyball is a resource needed sport. Mm-hmm. Club costs money, the equipment costs money, but it's more of the club dues and everything. So one of the things that we started doing is thinking about how to make an impact, not necessarily leave a legacy, but just include everybody in this this passion of ours. And our nonprofit that we started up is Performance Volleyball Group.
PVG.
And hopefully
I think you can. We're going to have it down in our descriptions as well for our people once this goes out. But y'all have a YouTube channel, Performance Volleyball Group, and so you can search us there. And
trying to start up that YouTube channel, and I was very thankful for the conversation we had about what you're doing here. I mean, it takes a leap of faith, takes confidence. I love what you're doing here. So hopefully we'll get some more content out there, and the breath of life that you kind of pushed my way is hopefully going to get some more out there.
And what I was sharing with Eric courtside people is it's just content, not produced content. Produced content is something that I feel is of value that somebody wants to pay for. Content is creating awareness and letting people know what opportunities are available. So, just get in there, just turn the camera on and start shooting. But, whenever you're courtside and you're trying to teach and coach, at the games, it's challenging.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. I feel the same way whenever I'm out in my other normal job of installing and providing technology solutions. It's kind of like, I got to pause and take a picture. It's
right.
It's like pausing and taking a sharp left sometimes.
Getting squirreled, but for a good thing.
Yeah, getting squirreled, but for a good thing. That's right. Yeah. So you got into it. You and Sean Carter partnered up, teamed up, and he was already doing HVA.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
And he was having a very successful go at training boys volleyball teams. And then also he branched out and created Little Dippers
for girls, Space Rangers for boys. Yeah. So he started volleyball for a ministry purpose to try to get into the gyms, and he'll have more people come to play a sport as opposed to come to Wednesday night Bible study. And it was just slow and steady, and he offered opportunities for myself and for some other players that went D1, went to the Olympics. I mean, he was a part of the game in the state of Texas, which is unheard of. And now whenever we joined forces, we kind of branched out into youth, which is what you were talking about, the Little Dippers, and that's 7 to 12-year-olds. Normally we pick up club teams in high school. On the girls' side is a little different. They start at 3, it seems like.
Yeah, you talked about it and touched on it a little bit, but y'all have 8 different locations throughout the Houston areas, pretty much the full circumference around the Houston area. Are y'all doing all of these programs, like youth and teen programs, at all these different locations?
No, our youth program is what is, and hopefully another location is starting up near you, or whatever the advertisement slogan would go. But it's a youth 7 to 12-year-old volleyball.
We create champions near you.
Yeah, we're coming. Yeah. Here we come. But yeah, it gives us an opportunity to teach the game the way that we are going to be teaching in the academy, as opposed to just a volunteer coach tossing balls, just doing babysitting, if you will. We want to make sure that we're intentional, trying to learn something, but at the same time we're talking about 7 to 12-year-olds, so we have to have fun. Where club is a little different. We're going to push it to the next level. On our boys program, we've had some national success. It's been amazing to be a part of. This summer, I went to China to watch a player play beach volleyball in the U19 games. What am I doing in China?
Wow, yeah, that's amazing.
It was crazy.
So beach volleyball allows you. I can't even fathom having the opportunity to travel like that for something that I'm passionate about athletically, let's say, as a youth.
Yeah.
And the doors that can open up for you. And to be honest with you, you really have to have a sharp head on your shoulders,
right,
to be able to absorb that kind of, presence of, wow. they've invited me to go to China to perform.
Their slogan is Pathline to the Podium, and that's crazy when we have some kids that are in the A2 or A1 program that you're looking at, the next quad, maybe going to the Olympics, when we were just a Houston boys club or a Houston girls club. Like, we're trying to push you to that level, and that's crazy. It's the self-awareness is.
And so this athlete that you were talking about going to China, is he from this area?
Yeah, Bel Air. He's actually now playing up in the MIVA conference, Division I. Killing it. He's a redshirt this year, but yeah.
A local young man.
Bel Air High School.
Able to get out there and play international volleyball.
One of our coaches right now in the 12s, Leela, he's going to be traveling and playing in the AVP. And
what is AVP for those that might not know?
The professional volleyball on the beach side in America. There's not a professional league for indoor. But there is for beach, as opposed to in Europe. There's professional sports everywhere. It's crazy, crazy fans. But anyways, he is going to be traveling through the circuit, and just wishing him all types of luck. He's killing it right now in the Texas, the domestic games, and he's going to take it out a little bit more. And I'd love for one day to have a story that he's going international.
That's well, hard work.
Yeah,
and the coaching is crucial to that type of success, no doubt about it. So, all right, so HVA training all over the city of Houston. Y'all have coaches that are branched out all over the city of Houston to facilitate these students in a variety of different gyms available to them. Now, we also touched on the performance volleyball group, which is a little bit different than HVA,
right?
And that's really more for bringing youth in that might not even consider or have the opportunity to play volleyball, and to educate them and let them know what volleyball really is all about.
I'm trying to go into some at-risk neighborhoods near my neighborhood. I mean, there's opportunities, and offer an opportunity for kids, coaches to not only have the right shoes or the right knee pads, but also go through the opportunity that the other volleyball world, the other volleyball community get to experience. And maybe that branches out to club. I know there are some clubs out there that already do that, but just for the 7 to 12-year-olds, maybe the 12 to 15, to give them an opportunity to stay out of trouble, for the lack of better words.
To explore other avenues.
After school.
After school.
Yeah, an after-school program that will give them something, give them purpose. And then we can also now have our coaching staff there to kind of get into the community that maybe are already living in the community, and then have an impact.
Is Performance Volleyball Group just focused on the athletes themselves, or are y'all also encouraging and helping with training the trainers? Coaching the coaches.
All encompassing. I mean, it's the YouTube channel is supposed to have video that's going to teach the game. The PVG community aspect is for youth to teach the youth. So it's just a big umbrella. Again, the things you can do in volleyball is just unbelievable. Whether it's training the trainer, training the kid, indoor, outdoor, 7 years old. Or, I mean, I had an adult lesson the other week. I'm like, we're getting ready for a social league, but they're there, and you have opportunities to have an impact, to kind of do what you're supposed to do as a person, as a Christian, and kind of spread the word, and also teach the game what I've learned, and then also the lessons that I've learned. And it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that I love doing with my family, and actually a couple of our other families who are in the volleyball environment, is we love just finding a sand court in one of the neighborhoods, and connecting on a Sunday or on a Saturday, and just getting out there with our kids and spending time with them. And it's challenging sometimes to find a full baseball team to play against, or finding the pads to play some football, and things like that, which are fantastic sports. But volleyball, you can, as long as you got one on either side of the net, or two on either side of the net.
And you got a perfect team. You got 2-on-2. I mean,
know.
Let's go.
And our 2 daughters really put it to us.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's a lifetime sport, and that's amazing. I mean, my dad, if his knees weren't bothering him, would still be playing sand, not indoor because of the absorption with the sand. But I mean, we could still be playing together right now, and that's like you said, you can't do that. And I played water polo in high school. We're not doing that. You know, basketball, it's not going to happen. You know,
right.
And this is now given an opportunity. I mean, even my wife and I will pepper passing the ball, setting and hitting back and forth, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Just don't do it in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in the house, because we'll break a lamp.
Or you'll break a lamp. That's why we have no lamps in the house.
Yeah. LEDs only.
LED only. So tell me, all encompassing, what is your favorite? What is like your highlight of being a coach? You know, and a technical marketing director. What do you love about it? Because I get like secondhand data from you, because I see you on the side of the court. You're not even coaching the team, and you're like,
I'm in the game.
You're in the
definitely
game.
in the
You're
game.
like,
yeah, there's a rhythm. Yeah, I know. I nerd out, and he got to see that, especially this weekend.
Yeah.
You said what was the
what's your highlight? Like, what fulfills you the most? You know, in the HVA or in the performance volleyball group PVG.
Yeah.
You know, that really, get you going and out of bed every morning.
Right. Having the opportunity to kind of have an impact in the community that's outside of my community, if you will, in my neighborhood, but being able to go to Rosenberg, being able to go to Tomball and going to these other areas is just out of this world. Walking into schools, we don't have a facility, so we're leasing facilities. To go into a facility and just be like, how did I get here? That's kind of a real high.
Right.
It's a blessing, it amazes me. But the rewards for like an athlete, I mean, obviously last year I think we had 5 Division I kids graduate. Like, that's awesome. Those are accolades that we're going to show off. But it's also the kids that maybe just go and play intramurals.
Right.
And they come back after graduating or just during the summer, and you're able to have a connection there. That network through volleyball is that's a reward for sure.
Right.
And then the coaches, right? We have a mentor coach. He's teaching me stuff that I've never heard of. It changed some of my beach volleyball game at age 33. I'm like, what are you
still learning?
No, it's student of the game for
right.
sure. So those are the constant highs, of the profession.
All right, cool. Let's see if we got some questions here, and we're going to scroll up to the top. Thank you there, Mike. All right, scroll down a little bit.
What was pro ball?
And Chin, what was pro ball experience like? And I think we covered that, but did you enjoy it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
No, that was amazing. I got to wake up and spend 6 hours a day on playing volleyball. I mean, it was very hard. There was definitely some low times. I was in Finland. It was negative degree temperatures and everything.
Yeah, that's
4 hours of sunlight. But the opportunity for your job to be playing a sport, that's amazing. Like I was very blessed
to get paid to have fun.
You got to be kidding me, right? Like that's. I owe somebody something for this, but it was a blessing. I'm very blessed for that.
All right. What goes into, thanks, Chin, for commenting, what goes into getting into college volleyball?
Oh, you're applying for a job. I mean, you're sending resumes, if you will, your grade point average, and you're reaching out to coaches, reaching out to schools, and asking if I can fit in that program, if I can come for a visit. And Chin is actually our master coach on the girls' side, and he has helped with a couple athletes that have been interested. And I think that's the big deal is, are you interested? Because a lot of people are like, I'm playing volleyball because that's the sport that's offered in fall, and then you just keep doing it. But when it comes to playing Division I, playing Division III, or club in college, that's a commitment. That's a job,
Right.
So you got to also make sure you realize what you're getting into. I mean, there's some days you're like, I don't want to go to practice, or I don't want to lift, but that's a scholarship, or that is your job. That's your character, your reputation. So hopefully that answered that question.
And how does club experience assist with the recruitment process?
Well, some of the local high schools that have programs don't bring in a lot of college scouts. So the club game is kind of what you need to have in order to have a qualifier in a different city where, club coaches will go to. We were in St. Louis, and there was, scouts all over, college scouts all over. So they go hand in hand. It's very rare that an athlete does not play club. Not saying you can't do that, you know.
Like a college athlete,
he had
most likely came out of club volleyball.
Correct. That's the norm there.
Yeah, and Sharon, you know, is definitely, you know, reciting, hey, ask Chen's questions, because those are fantastic questions. And how should parents play a part in a recruiting process? I mean, what is my role? I see a lot of parents out there with like GoPro cameras and score clickers. Is that a huge part of?
Not necessarily the score clickers,
okay,
but no, the cameras for sure. You're wanting to get video. You're creating a resume for the athlete, but more importantly, you're trying to push them, breathe life into them, to be interested in what they're doing and not do it. Have the parent do it themselves. So one of the recommendations we do is we say is have the athlete pick out 15 schools, 5 schools just volleyball, 5 schools volleyball and academic, and then 5 schools just academic, and have them go through the process. That's the one thing that I think as a parent you can be doing. Whenever you're the one almost writing the essay, we're in a scandal right now, or there is a scandal right now in the nation with you know, admissions and everything. It's like, let the kid do their job.
Right.
Let them find a job. Let them walk through it. You know, they're going to fall down. Be there to pick them up. So
how do you measure success if you don't fail? I mean, it's you can't just have success after success, or you don't know what it is.
Right.
You know, you have to skin your knee a little bit.
Exactly.
In order to heal.
Yeah.
You know, and to go forward. I love these questions. Should training be customized for the individual athlete? You know, I didn't know Chen talked this much. This is incredible questions that he's putting up here.
He is a volleyball guru.
I love it.
He was brought into my circle. He was playing. We met at Rice. He was coaching. I was coaching.
Great question. Should it be customized per student? I would say, yeah.
Did you say for the individual athlete? Yeah. So that's one of the main things that we're pushing. We don't want to have a prescription sport that this is how everybody needs to fit in.
Yeah.
And to quote John Wilson, we don't want to be lost in the dead dogma. We want to coach the reality in front of us, and that's a challenge for the coach. That's also a unique experience for each team, each culture, and yet it's still under the umbrella of, you know, a club. So yeah, we definitely have to be specific, be intentional for each individual athlete, how their, you know, learning motor skills are, what their preferences are, and the list goes on.
Well, friends, I greatly appreciate y'all tuning in to the show today. And Eric, thank you so much for joining me and coming on, Mike.
It was awesome. Honored.
Sharing with our audience, you know, the experience that you have had and the experiences that you are creating for other, you know, youth and kids, and teaching them those leadership skills, those team environments, and what you can do when you get knocked down, and how to get back up. And friends, I want to thank you for joining us today, and I want to encourage everyone to seek out their why in every experience that they create. Ask yourself, why am I doing what I do? And what is the effect it's having on me and potentially others, right? In addition to that, ask, is it a positive return or is it not? I hope in everything we do, it is for the better. All right, friends, until next week, y'all have a great week. If you're looking to make your basic home smart, check out digitaldelight.com/shop, where they have a variety of different smart home technology solutions that help make smart home shopping easy for you. Check out digitaldelight.com/shop. Support the Y Experience with JJ Canon by becoming a Patreon. Every month, the Y Experience will receive a regular source of income from supporters like you who've pledged through Patreon. Having your ongoing support for as little as $1 a month means we spend less time thinking about business and more time creating quality content for you.